That's a good question. Amandala, I guess it was probably one of the first groups that I was a leader of that I felt like really passionate about. So I put a lot more effort into it than I would have with a lot of other projects. And it's not immediately rewarding doing that kind of thing, but I don't know, it just means a lot to you. And I don't know. I guess that's probably the biggest thing. I just cared so much, and I just tried all these things, and I don't know. That's a good question.
I really think it's great that you guys do the directing, that you lead it. I think that it builds leadership. It absolutely does. And management is not just one set of skills. It's it's not one skill. It's a whole bunch of different skills, and you get to experience that.
Definitely, yeah.
And being able to be a leader among your friends is a different kind of leadership, and it's really great to get a sense of how to do that. So,
yeah.
Amandala is precious.
So I like a lot of the songs in Amandala, and in particular, I feel like I'm biased towards our Eastern European rap a little bit now because I sing with the Slavic chorus. So, but I think because I still sing those songs, I won't mention them as my favorite song, like Showing Me Lambert, which will be off the language. But I really love Miengo. I sang that for my audition for the Slavic chorus, actually. And I also really love Con el Viento, and I really love Kwaheri. Those are probably among my top three.
Okay. Or were there too many to count?
There are too many to count, but the first one that comes to mind is Što mi je milo. But honestly, I've heard it in Slavs too, so I'm not sure if that's why. But that's what's coming to mind, so I won't even pretend that I can pull up other ones. But there was didn't Kate arrange one? I'd have to. If you gave me a list, I'd say, oh. Just beautiful.
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, Amandala and the song with the cups.
Yeah, Liszt and Brahms. Yeah.
And then the one that you just sang recently, the one about a woman's spirit. Just the themes. The themes are amazing, and the independence. And I loved when one of the girls would step up and explain the meaning of the song. So all the African songs were by far my most favorites.
I didn't have any particular favorite, but I love the music from around the world. And one of my biggest memories of what I thought was the great selection of music that Amandala used was when we all traipsed down to Haddonfield or wherever it was, and Amandala was the only group using any kind of, I guess what you could call world music, for lack of a better term. And I was so proud of the kids that night, and that, in fact, they didn't win anything, always rankled me, not because it was our kids, but because I thought they showed a much different place within that competition, and they were very good. It was a tough competition, but that stood out to me.
And I think they did get honorable mention, I think, but they were also the only student-run group, which also made them stand out.
Right, and that's special too. But the music itself was from all over the world, and it made it so much closer. Of course, the world's growing smaller every day, and that was a small chink in its size, I guess you could say.
Oh, my favorite song. Maybe my favorite song might have been Kwaheri, actually.
Kwaheri, yeah.
Yeah, I like whenever I do a lot of world music stuff now, and I always teach people Kwaheri because it's so awesome.
Okay, cool.
Sweet Dreams, I love that song. Whenever I hear it now, I'm still
do in the background, yeah.
Yeah. Like a Prayer was a big deal for me.
I remember so many of those songs, I know you're expecting a baby. I had a baby a year ago, and I sing her Što mi je milo, and I've been singing her some Amandala songs.
Oh, you do? Oh, that's really nice. Okay, I'm gonna get verklempt. It's what happens when you get pregnant. You get very hormonal. Anything makes you cry.
Okay. I mean, I feel like I've got to give a list. I loved Što mi je milo. I loved Sia Hamba. I feel like there were some of those classics. Didn't you teach everyone Sia Hamba because you had learned it at camp or something?
Yeah, I learned it at the regional or All-State or something. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And then I taught that to one of the a cappella groups at Wellesley. They asked me to teach it.
Wow. so that was you.
Except we
brought
sang
that
it better,
song with you.
obviously.
But I loved Kwaheri. Remember that one?
Oh yeah. And how about Miango?
Oh, Miango, yeah. Miango was
Tori
great.
on that solo is like
Totally, Tori Mack on the Miango solo. But I also loved Totaru Koi, which we've already discussed. And I have been trying to remember. Farzi wrote a song. Do you remember that? She wrote like she was studying.
Whoa.
Whoa. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then there were also some Labana songs. Which were like
Hotaru Koi was Labana, but there was something else.
Oh, what?
Yeah, we learned that was on a Labana album, but what were the other ones?
But there were some other ones that were like really like Earth Mother. A
Yeah,
little bit too
like I Am Woman. That wasn't Labana, but we did sing a song called I Am Woman.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay.
I think that I can't see it except through my own lens, and so for me that meant being raised in a feminist household. I mean, my dad was a women's studies major at Rutgers, so I definitely saw like being part of an all-women's group run by like my peers, but also leaders in the group, and people who were definitely older than me, certainly when I started, was really interesting and really formative for me. And I think the legacy of the group is just, I think, perpetuating a message of kind of strong, independent woman spirit for high school students in Highland Park. And I think Amandala is really recognized by the community as being a part of Highland Park's arts scene and culture, and that's something that's really special. And when I meet other people who like talk about their a cappella groups from high school or from before, other times in their lives, I've never come across something that has been like Amandala. I think that it is extremely special in that we tried to be conscientious about where our music came from, and I think looking back, I feel like maybe we should have done more and tried to be more conscientious about kind of the cultural roots of stuff that we found, but we were always curious about the music that we sang, and always seeking kind of new cultural repertoire, and also to diversify our sound, and definitely a diverse group of people also when I was a part of it, and that was really valuable to me too, because our high school definitely has a tracked system, and you see the same kids in your classes all the time, and this was a way to kind of interact with all sorts of people and make music together. Sounds great.
The role in the community is just, I said, you guys are a natural resource in this town. You know, it's this special thing in Highland Park. Who else has this? You guys run yourselves. No one has this. No one has this experience. I mean, you know, Kate went to college and she auditioned to be a pitch, and she could say, I have 2 years music leadership experience in a singing group.
Mm-hmm.
So, and in the community, it's just the voices. One year, Amandala sang in a choir fest my church had. And when you guys came and performed, this was a few years ago, so you're up on the altar in this big church.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, it's angels. It's angels. This is the Methodist church right by the school. They were like angels. And because your voices were very, you know, it's just beautiful, and it was really good acoustics.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Amandala's performed at the, the Reformed Church I've heard Amandala, I've heard them, and one of the youth groups for the Temple, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like
Yeah.
fundraisers. But that's what I mean. I feel like it's a natural resource that everybody likes to tie into, you know. Amandala, the first time I heard Amandala was when Katie was a kid. We went to the mayor's inauguration, and she introduced Amandala. Wow, what is that? That's our kids, really? So,
Yeah.
I think anytime you get a space, look, it's still a patriarchal world, or it's still a male-dominated world. However much there have been tremendous changes and tremendous improvement. Let's not kid ourselves about the upper reaches. So it gives women that opportunity to not feel like the only voice of authority is the male voice. It's your voice. It's your voice. You're the ones making the judgment. It doesn't have to be the official teacher. It's really empowering. That's what I thought. It's really empowering about the skills you can learn. You can teach each other. You can pass on, and the accomplishments that don't have to rely on anybody else. I feel like it's just, you know, that was the basis for the women's colleges initially, right? For women to have, like, and proportionally more of those women go into science, and the theory was, well, they're good female-ruled world, and so they don't have any of those barriers that, the men have to do it, women can't. So I do think it's really empowering.
Mm-hmm.
I think the legacy that the group leaves is that kids can put things together themselves, and after a 20-year history, there's this continuity of similar-minded kids of the same at the same time in their lives, in their high school years, and that it shows that this type of music can rise above what's currently popular, and so whatever was currently popular 20 years ago is certainly different than today, but the same style of music is being sung to such great advantage to the audiences then and now. So that, to me, is a great legacy.
Yeah, and I would echo much of what Fred said, and also just the idea of a cappella music, and of the international flavor, and of the female-led group. I think all of those are really unique and memorable, and hopefully we'll be here for another 20 years.
I think it's really important for people to see like a group of like powerful, like strong, like smart women, which like Amandala is, and you know, I don't know, just that you guys are so good at what you do. I think it's like a huge deal, and like that you take it so seriously. I think that's probably, you know, like that's maybe like the legacy, you know, that like we, like, you know, you guys, you know, are a group of women, but like, you know, you do things so much better than like the choir, you know, like, which is like, you know, I don't know, you're just so, it's just, it works so well, you know, and like that, like the knowledge of how to like be so successful at doing that is like passed on, and like people leave like knowing how to get things done, right? Like, so